It was a bright, busy morning at Atlanta International Airport, the kind of day where travelers rush through terminals with coffee in hand, kids tugging at luggage, and security officers posted at every corner. Among the crowd was Jessica Ramirez, a 28-year-old Filipino-American nurse, 7 months pregnant. She was glowing with excitement, her hands resting gently on her belly as she walked beside her husband, Daniel, a tall, soft-spoken African-American software engineer. They were headed to California for one last vacation before the baby arrived. For Jessica, this was more than just a trip. It was a break from the stress of working double shifts at the hospital, a reward for surviving long, grueling months in scrubs. Her smile radiated peace, her heart full of joy, until it wasn't. Stationed at the checkpoint ahead was Officer Kyle Brennan, a white police officer in his late 40s, whose reputation among airport staff was well known but rarely spoken out loud. He wasn't the type to crack jokes or offer a polite nod. He was the type who wore his badge like armor and treated every brown face like a potential threat. Brennan's eyes narrowed the moment he spotted Jessica and Daniel. His gaze lingered not on Daniel but directly on Jessica's belly, as if somehow her very existence was an inconvenience to him. "Hey, you! Step aside!" Brennan barked suddenly, his voice cutting through the hum of conversation. Jessica froze. She looked around thinking perhaps he meant someone else, but no. His finger jabbed toward her. "I said step aside. You're acting suspicious." Daniel instinctively stepped between his wife and the officer. "Sir, is there a problem?" he asked, his voice calm but tense. "I'm speaking to her, not you," Brennan snapped, shoving Daniel back with a firm push. The people nearby turned their heads, sensing something ugly unfolding. "We're just going to our gate," Jessica explained, her voice trembling. "I'm pregnant and I—" But before she could finish, Brennan abruptly reached for her arm. In a swift, aggressive motion, he shoved her shoulder back. Jessica stumbled, nearly falling to the floor. A gasp echoed through the terminal. A stranger's voice cut through the air. "She's pregnant." "Are you insane?" Jessica clutched her belly, trying to steady herself. Daniel lunged forward. "Don't you ever touch my wife!" he shouted. Brennan immediately reached for his handcuffs, screaming, "You're resisting! Both of you, get down!" The crowd swelled. Phones came out. People recorded. Mothers shielded their children's eyes. Elderly passengers stared in horror, and voices rose in a wave of disbelief. "She's pregnant, man! What are you doing?" someone shouted. Another voice screamed, "Someone call the news!" Amidst the chaos, an older white woman with silver hair marched toward the officer, standing defiantly between him and Jessica. "You back off! I saw the whole thing!" she yelled. Brennan's face flushed with fury, but before he could react, a younger TSA supervisor arrived, breathless and panicked. Sir, step back," the supervisor stammered. "There are cameras. The whole terminal saw—" But Brennan wasn't listening. He was red with rage. In his mind, this wasn't a pregnant woman. This was a challenge to his authority. What Brennan didn't know was that 3 terminals away, sitting in the airport's legal office, was District Attorney Michelle Thompson, an African-American woman with a reputation for never backing down from injustice. She had been on a routine business trip but happened to catch the live stream exploding on social media. Her assistant, wide-eyed, shoved a tablet in her hands. "Ma'am, you need to see this, right now." Michelle's eyes scanned the footage. Jessica clutching her belly, Daniel shielding her, Brennan screaming, the crowd pushing back. Her jaw clenched. "Get me Airport Security Command on the phone. This ends now." And just like that, what started as a simple trip for a young couple transformed into a national reckoning. A confrontation that would echo far beyond the walls of this airport. A story about power, prejudice, and what happens when ordinary people stand together against injustice. The world was about to watch, and Brennan was about to learn that no badge, no uniform, and no amount of intimidation could stop the truth when it's caught on camera. The tension in the terminal escalated with every passing second. Jessica stood frozen, her hands instinctively wrapped around her belly, trying to shield the life growing inside her from the chaos exploding around her. Her heart pounded like a war drum, not just from fear, but from disbelief that in broad daylight, with dozens of witnesses, an officer of the law could attack her like this, as if she were invisible, as if her pregnancy, her humanity, her rights meant absolutely nothing. Daniel clenched his fists, his body trembling between rage and restraint. He knew one wrong move could cost them everything. He'd seen it before, too many times. But he also knew he wasn't going to let anyone harm his wife, not now, not ever. All around them, a crowd was forming. Mothers pulled out their phones. Elderly couples stood in shock. A group of college students who had been sitting near the window jumped up, recording from every angle. "This is insane! She's pregnant!" one of them yelled. "What the hell is wrong with you?" someone else shouted. Brennan, blinded by his own authority, barked orders louder, stepping forward with his hand on his holster. "Back up! Everybody back up!" His voice cracked, not with control, but with panic. He wasn't just losing the situation, he was losing control of himself. But the crowd wasn't backing down. A young woman, maybe 22, stepped right in front of her camera phone and shouted, "The whole world is watching you. You think you can get away with this?" At that very moment, hundreds of people were already watching the live stream. 10 minutes later, thousands. People across the country tuned in as the stream was reshared on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Comments flooded the screen. "Is she okay? OMG, this is disgusting. Fire that cop now. Protect her." Within an hour, Shakur, Protect Jessica, and Fire Officer Brennan were trending nationwide. News anchors interrupted broadcasts to cover the story. Civil rights attorneys started dialing their contacts. Even major celebrities started tweeting, outraged by what they were watching in real time. Inside the airport's security control room, panic exploded among supervisors. Michelle Thompson, the district attorney who had seen the footage first, was already coordinating with airport law enforcement. Her voice was sharp, commanding. "Get him off that floor, now. Pull every piece of footage, secure witnesses, lock this entire scene down before this gets worse." She slammed her phone onto the table and pointed at her assistant. "I want to know every complaint ever filed against Officer Brennan. Find me everything. If he's done this before, we're exposing all of it." Meanwhile, back in the terminal, another officer finally arrived. Sergeant Deshaun Carter, a black officer known for his professionalism and for standing against discrimination even within his own department. He pushed through the crowd. "Kyle, step away from her. Step back right now." Brennan turned, face red, jaw tight. She was resisting. He was interfering. He lied through his teeth. "Don't you pull rank on me, Carter." But Carter didn't flinch. "Step back, now." His voice was steel. "It's over, you're done." And then, looking at the crowd, he raised both hands. "Everyone, stay calm. Help is on the way. We've got medics coming to check on this woman. We're getting this sorted. Keep your cameras rolling. Don't stop." Jessica was shaking, tears streaming down her face. Not from physical pain, but from the overwhelming realization of what almost happened. Daniel pulled her close, whispering, "I've got you. I've got you." Strangers gathered around them, offering water, jackets, anything to help. A flight attendant knelt beside her, her own eyes wet with tears. "We've got you, honey. You're safe now. We're not letting this happen to you." But behind the scenes, a storm was brewing. Brennan's personnel file wasn't just dirty, it was radioactive. Years of buried complaints. At least 3 internal investigations that mysteriously disappeared. A pattern of targeting minorities. A trail of settlements paid quietly by the city to avoid lawsuits. And now, with the entire world watching, there was no more hiding, no more sweeping it under the rug. What Brennan thought would be a routine abuse of power had spiraled into something far bigger than he could ever have imagined. And for the first time in his career, he realized something terrifying. This time, he wouldn't be able to walk away from it. As the situation on the terminal floor spiraled into a public spectacle, Officer Brennan's heartbeat pounded in his ears, not from exertion, but from something he hadn't felt in years. Fear. Not the fear of danger, but the raw terror of losing the power he had always wielded without consequence. Around him, the crowd had become a living wall. Dozens of phones pointed at his every movement, every word recorded, every sneer captured, every act of aggression magnified to millions watching in real time. The badge that once served as his shield now felt like a burning weight on his chest. Jessica, still trembling but sitting upright now, held Daniel's hand like a lifeline. Her other hand never left her belly, her instincts as a mother already stronger than her fear. Around her, strangers continued to offer comfort, whispering words of support and protection. People who just minutes ago were rushing to catch flights had now united as an impromptu army of witnesses. "You're not alone," a young man whispered, placing a blanket around her shoulders. "We've got your back."